or over more than a year, we talked about doing something like this, and finally, it just took a world-stopping, quarantine-inducing virus for it to finally happen. In months. Yeah. That's not true. Well, you're stuck. Well, that's why. Look, I'm if anything, I'm the one who's stuck at home. You're at least out like working jobs, and I'm working from home. But let's introduce this podcast and what the point. Well, there's no point behind it. It's like the Seinfeld of podcast. I probably shouldn't have compared us to Seinfeld. That's not a good start for us. But essentially, I'm in saying that I mean that there's literally no point to this at all, except for one. The name of the podcast is "Let's See Where This One Goes," and my idea behind the name and behind this, there's literally nobody. It had to be the perfect. When I came up with the idea for this, it had to be the perfect person to do this with, and there's literally nobody in the universe that's more perfect to do this with me than Kyle. But the whole point of it is, you have conversations with people at work or your friends or you're out at the bar and you start talking about one thing. And then all of a sudden, 3 hours later, like you started off talking about how are the kids. And then 3 hours later, you're talking about the socioeconomical ramifications of Western Germany after Hitler's power was taken away from him. Like, you never know where a conversation's going to go. And with Kyle and I, most especially, and they almost always go down really dark, weird paths, dark or weird or dark and weird. So it's the perfect podcast and the perfect idea for the two of us. So the name of the podcast is "Let's See Where This One Goes." We're gonna start with a topic and just see where the hell it goes. It might stay on that topic, it might not. We can literally do whatever we want. And everybody says, "Hey, Josh, Kyle." You remember when people said that to us, Kyle? They were like, "Ha, Josh, Kyle." That's Josh, Kyle. They don't say anything else. They're just like Josh, Kyle. It's like they're trying to mansplain things to us, but they don't have anything to say. They're just like they know we're up to something, and so they're just like Josh, Kyle. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So when we did that fantasy show, the Fantasy Four, was that what it was called? Yeah. When we did the Fantasy Four on Sports Radio 610 with Brian McDonald and Joe George, Brian obviously BMAC still at Sports Radio 610, and Joe George has moved over to Sports Talk 790 now. But when we did that with them, 95% of the time, Kyle and I would either plan things separately without anyone else and do them on the show without telling anybody, or we would plan something together and just not tell Brian and Joe, to the point to where I'm pretty sure one or both of them wanted to murder us by the end of it. Yeah. Yeah, like if we kill them, we'll go to jail. And is it worth killing two morons to go to jail? At the end of it, they were strongly considering it, that it was worth it. Mhm. You did that. You did that. You didn't die, and now you did that, which is good. Mhm. My fuck. Hold on, shut up. The years start to run together, and now my days are starting to run together. Um, my daughter is 11 and my son is 9. I knew it would come to me at some point. Well, usually, whenever I remember one's age, the other one comes real fast. That much like mine and my wife's sex life. Anyway, uh, yeah. So my daughter's 11 and my son is 9. But yeah, how I wanted to ask you that because we haven't had a chance to talk much since you became a dad. We've talked here and there. Like, how is the dad life treating you?
You
That's
know,
awesome.
like it's so much fun getting to watch my daughter do things. Like I've started to realize I'm starting to learn from her.
Hmm.
I think it's from all the Sesame Street we're watching. Like I'm learning my letters and my numbers all again and how to share, and I'm learning to share with her, which is great.
If there's anything in the world that would have taught Kyle King how to share things, it would be having a kid, and
Yes.
that's the only thing.
Dude, I mean, look at this. Look at this gray that is in my beard. I have two gray patches. One of them is from my wife, one of them is from my child. And what's funny is the one that, my child gave me, a lot smaller than the one my wife gives me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
correlation, I think so.
Yeah. How old is your kid now?
Monica Rose is, what is it, March now? Monica
Yeah.
Rose is 13 months.
I was about to say she has to be like a month or a year and 2 months or a year and 1 month, something like that. But 13
Yes.
months, man, 13 months. Get out. I don't. I look. I'm not. It's your kid, so I'm not gonna do it. But just like once they hit a year, just say a year, Kyle.
Uh huh.
I just say a year and 1 month. Don't be one of those. Oh, my kid's 76 months old. How old's your kid? Oh, my kid's 82 months. Fucking no, that's years,
Yeah,
bitch.
when do you stop counting the months?
After a
That's my
year.
after a year?
Look, well, okay, I'll give you a buffer. Like honestly, if you want to say 13 months or 14 months, like 1 year, 1 month, 1 year, 2 months, like I get wanting to expedite the process. You know what? This is where I'm gonna say that as soon as they hit a year and a half, as soon like if I hear anybody say 18 months versus a year and a half, I will literally throat kick them as hard as I can.
But hold
'Cause
on, but hold on. Why can't I do that? Because her clothes still have the months that she is.
I don't care. That clothes are different. Like, what size is that? Eight. Honestly, and also clothes sizes. Like, well, what clothes size is that? 18 months. That's a measurement of time, man. How are you doing clothing sizing like that? My wife. I remember when my kids were that age. I had so many issues with so many things, and that clothing size was one of them. She's like, "Can you go grab the 6 months clothing?" I'm like, I don't. I don't. That's an age. I don't know. That's a period of time. Like, you want me to grab clothing 6 months from now? What does that mean? And
You
I
know
hated
what?
it.
I actually wish that our clothes still came in like those sizes because I'm getting really embarrassed when I go to shop for jeans these days, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree with that. Or if they did it in like, if they did clothing sizes in like how many months it's been since you've worked out, right? It's like, I don't know what would the moniker be. It'd be a question mark months, SW since workout. So it's like you've got like you've got like, and then you go. I swear to God, if people say 16 months, I'm gonna throw up. No, it's not 16 months. It's been a year and 4 months since you worked out. No. I remember when my kids were that age, it was like, so the shows back then, I don't know what shows are big for like 1 year old now, but the shows back then, it was My Friends. This is 2009, 2010, 2011, around there. But the shows were My Friends Tigger and Pooh, which you can find all these on Disney Plus now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But My Friends Tigger and Pooh, which went away for a long time, Little Einsteins, and Imagination Movers, which Imagination Movers was just added to Disney Plus, and my son never really got to watch it a lot, and so I've got like baby PTSD going on right now, and I didn't realize I had it. Like I have like there's military PTSD, right? That's one thing,
Right.
but I didn't realize there was baby PTSD where my son keeps putting it on these episodes of a show that I watched just over and over and over again when my daughter was like growing up to like when she was about 1.5, not 18 months, 1.5.
Right.
And they sing all these songs on the show Imagination Movers. And whenever I hear them, all the lyrics are still stuck in my head because that shit has been burned into my brainstem. But B, I have like this visceral reaction to like, no, I don't want to change the diaper. Like I go back to sleep deprivation mode. It's really weird for me. But what are the big shows right now that you're watching with Monica?
Let's see. She loves Sesame Street, as I already said. What is the Daniel the Tiger? I think comes on PBS.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it's Daniel Tiger, but you can add
Yes,
the in there. That
Daniel
makes way more
Tiger.
sense to me.
Daniel
No,
Tiger.
say Daniel the Tiger.
Daniel the
Right?
Tiger. Yeah.
People need to quit anthropomorphizing animals the way they do. It's real weird.
Yeah, I agree. So Daniel the Tiger's one. The other show that she loves, First Take on ESPN. Loves watching that
Good.
one.
That's a good one. Yeah. Anything that's fictitious and full of nonsense is really good for kids that
Hold
age.
on. Hold on. I know this is going to be an unpopular sports opinion. I get it.
You've got lots of those.
That's fine. Trust me. I've done a show with you. I've heard yours too, my friend.
Hey, look. Whenever you got program directors that are up your ass, they're like up to their elbow in your ass, and they're telling you to come up with new content. You got to figure something out.
No. I hear you. I love that. Love everything you just said.
Love it.
Love it. But no,
love
like,
it.
Stephen A. Smith is actually. I like Stephen A. I
love Stephen A.
I think he's so entertaining. Max Kellerman can go to hell, for all I care. Like, I don't care about Max Kellerman. Like, stick to boxing. You're great at boxing. Everything. Although, hold on, I did love when Max Kellerman and like two other guys ganged up on an NBA player who tried to say that Chris Bosh wasn't part of a big three in Miami.
Oh my God!
Like
Get out of here.
Max Kellerman's face. If you ever get a chance to go back and see the clip, I'll probably tweet it out because I do it every time I see it. Max Kellerman just like you can just see him go from listening to like this guy is just full of shit and I'm about to destroy him. And I love that. But First Take is good. She likes that.
Max Kellerman is as useful as the crust stains on the shirt that's sitting next to me in the office. So that's what I think of Max Kellerman. But I do like Stephen A. Okay, continue. TV shows.
So yeah, there's that. And then we love Sports Center. Sports Center is always
Sports
fun.
Center's good. Do you let her stay up and watch Sports Center at night?
No, she's actually in bed by like 7:30. Dude, I don't know how your kids were when they were growing up, but I don't know what I did to hit. Oh, I don't know what I did to hit kid jackpot, but this is a kid, I kid you not, that will go to bed at 7:30 and sleep till 9:30.
My son was like that. My daughter was not. My son was like that. And I don't know, like I'm probably the reason why he's on ADHD and anxiety medication now. Like we just started, like that's a real thing. And I'm actually like really worried that it's my fault because if you, okay, let me peel back a little bit. My daughter was not like that. When we had my daughter, you had to like Mission Impossible. We were in a house with a basement when I was stationed in Omaha. Mm-hmm. And so the floors it was wood flooring with a basement, and it was really creaky. But there was one spot right in her doorway that was just the loudest creaking sound in the world. And so you had to like, at first she had colic, she didn't like sleeping, and she always wanted somebody next to her holding her. And so I'd have to rock her for about an hour. And once she started to faintly go to sleep, I could lay her down, but she would kind of wake up a little bit. So I had to stand there with my hand on her stomach so she knew I was still there with her. Uh-huh. And then when I knew she was asleep, I had to like tiptoe Mission Impossible sneak out of the room, and like I had to like slide across the walls and step in very specific spots like I was in an Indiana Jones movie, or else the floor was going to creak and wake her up. It was awful. It was terrible. Now, she was raised by her mom, obviously coddled, right? You know, that's what women do.
Sure. So, okay, that's a bold statement to go for.
That's on the first episode.
Also,
I'm already assigning old school gender stereotypes.
Yes, this also tells me that your wife nowhere near listening to what you're saying.
No, for sure not. She's downstairs watching Stranger Things with the kids.
Man, when she never listens to this podcast, she's gonna be pissed.
She won't. You want to know the last time my wife listened to or watched anything that I did? It was like the first time I was on the radio as an intern with Nick Wright and John Lopez on In the Loop in the morning at like 7:30. So that's the last time that was 5 years ago. That's the first and last time she ever listened to me. She's like, honestly, I don't blame her because it's like I have to listen to this shit whenever I'm home with him. Why in the hell would I want to listen to him when he's not around me? So I get it, but yeah, she won't ever listen to this. But
hold on, funny enough, I actually agree with you on this because my wife, I actually told her this the other day. You've probably seen where I've been doing Facebook Lives when I'm at my job at HEB
and TikToks, and I've wondered every time like these are hilarious, but also I hope they don't get them fired.
You and me both. Trust me. can't really afford that one right now.
Yeah, right.
But no, like she was telling me the other day. She goes, man, she goes, my coworkers and I, we love watching it in the morning. You know, one person's even been saying it's the Kyle show from the toilet paper aisle. And I'm like, we're gonna workshop that one a little bit. We'll get there. I like the idea. But she told me
No bad ideas here. No bad ideas. This is a
Right.
brainstorming session.
brainstorming session. But one of the things she told me is, for those of you who don't know radio, peek behind the curtain, we all have what's called a crutch. It's
yeah.
going to happen, and sometimes it's you say a certain word over and over again, and that's just your crutch, and you try to break that. Well, my wife told me that my crutch is the word okay. That
Yeah.
you know, and so she starts telling me about this, and I'm just going like, okay, all right, thank you,
Okay.
appreciate that, I get it, all right, and she just starts telling me all this, and I told her, she goes, are you mad? And I went, no, I love this. I was like, this is what I've been waiting for from you. I was like, I love getting advice and critiques from people that I love and respect, and you're one of those.
Right.
And I finally told her, I go, you're becoming a radio wife finally.
Oh,
She's now
that's good.
serving divorce papers to me, but we had a brief moment, you know?
It's finally all those years you had. Well, that's the thing. You had the moment. You don't need. That's fine. It's fine. You guys can go your separate ways, and you had that one moment, the moment that y'all have been shooting for, that one radio wife moment, and now you're good to go.
And,
right?
and funny enough, my friends, my group of friends.
I hate the fact that I feel. Hold on. Full disclosure, I feel awful that we just normalized the possibility of you getting a divorce from your wife, and it made me sad for a little bit. Now you can continue.
When my wife and I bought my car that I'm currently driving, the first word she said before she signed the contract was, "Now, in the event of a divorce."
It's not funny, but also
Kind of funny.
a little bit funny.
So,
oh, God.
yeah. So she's all for it. The divorce, I mean, she's all for that. Don't get me
yeah.
wrong. People have been telling her for years.
Actually, honestly, if y'all are picking, like, you know how whenever a couple separates or a couple divorces, it's like each person gets to pick people. It's almost like you do a draft. You do a friend draft, right?
Right.
Like if you do a friends and family draft. Well, I guess you don't really get to draft family. That family's stuck with whoever, but you get to do a friend draft. I kind of hope she drafts me first overall.
Wait, what?
Or at least in the second round. Your wife is awesome. Like, look, I like you. You're a nice guy, and we have a lot of fun together. But your wife is really cool. So I kind of like if it comes to that, like I'm kind of hoping she. I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be sad. I'm not going to be sad if you draft me. I think it's a very good place. There's a lot of potential. I think maybe we could win a championship one day after building a little bit. But, like,
Right.
I want to go to a contender from the very beginning if I can.
The funny thing is you're coming in here thinking that you're Eli or Eli Manning and just
Yeah.
dictating where you get to go. It's
Right,
also
yeah.
hilarious that you think you're a first or second round pick.
Oh, I'm absolutely a first round pick.
There's no chance in hell.
I've got class. I've got humor. I'm intelligent. Every once in a while, I will actually some people, but sometimes that can be endearing. I know
Humor, yes,
Yeah,
you've got
yeah.
that for days.
I've got looks. I can know how. I'm a great conversationalist.
Josh,
I've got everything go. I check all the boxes, right?
Congratulations, you're now dipping into Skip Bayless territory.
Skip Bayless is wildly popular, whether people love him or hate him. He is insanely popular. So if the worst thing in the world is you compare me to Skip Bayless, I'll take that.
So here's some things that you are leaving off of your draft board here, okay?
Okay.
Another thing, very punchable face.
It's okay.
Super punchable.
I've always wondered this. Are you just saying that to be funny, or do I actually have a kind of punchable face?
Josh, I'm a level with you here, buddy, because we're friends. It's yes to both.
It's one of those things that's funny because it's true.
Yes, it's funny because it's absolutely
man.
true. Like, people see you and they're just like, that guy, I don't know what it is about him. And I'm like, it's his face, right? And they're like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Fuck.
It's the guy's
I don't
face.
I don't. That kind of makes me a little bit sad. We've said a lot of hurtful things to each other, knowing it's a joke, but that one actually legitimately makes me a little sad. How did we get here?
Let's see where this one goes.
We're seeing where it goes. Man, we've wives. Oh, we were talking about kids shows.
Oh
no, you were
yeah.
talking about kids sleeping through the night. And then
Oh,
okay, that's
yeah.
yes. Wow, we've come see, that's the point of the show. That's why this is awesome. Okay, so I want to get back to this because I want to get back to how I really, and because this made me think of damaging people's psyches, and I thought about how I've damaged my son severely.
Oh yeah.
For probably for a lifelong, lifetime type of thing. Okay, so daughter was fine. My wife was the one that stayed home with her when she was younger. I got out of the Air Force in 2011. My wife went back to work. She went to teach, and I went back to school. So my daughter, I kind of took care of my son and my daughter at the same time. I mean, not kind of. I actually took care of them. I don't want people to think that I was like, go to that room. But I took care of them. But then my daughter started preschool pretty quickly. So a lot of the time it was me and my son alone. Like it was just the two of us, and I was the one handling nap times and snacks and lunch, and he would take naps, and for a little bit he like for a short period of time he would cry, and I would let him cry it out. And I was always like, I'd read let them cry it out, let them cry it out, let them cry it out. And I was really nervous about this decision. Like I was like, my wife did not let Emery cry it out. She's incredibly smart, but Keaton seems to be doing well sleeping through the night. Fast forward 9 years or 8 years, and now we just put him on ADHD medication and anxiety pills, and I'm just like, oh fuck. Is this because of me? But so Keaton, long story short, I'm really worried that I screwed him up, and he's going to need like I jokingly said, hey Mike, I jokingly have said before, my kids are going to need lots of therapy with me as their father. My son's actually probably going to need therapy already because of the decisions that I've made, I think.
Josh, I've been in therapy since you and I did a show together.
That's fair. I did walk in 5 minutes before a show started and not talk for the first.
Oh my God! Can we talk about that one really quick?
I just want to say real fast. No matter like silver lining to the story about my son, he has slept through the night his entire life, and we've never had an issue with that. So there's good and there's bad, right?
Oh well, that's fun. I'm happy for you.
So go through the story of why I have needed you, much like my son. You have needed therapy since knowing me.
Okay. So earlier in the show, we did talk about how Josh and I did the show with Brian McDonald and Joe George, and we would just come up with crazy, insane bits, and we wouldn't even clue the other guys in on it. Like we did a whole thing one time where we decided that we were going to do King Beard 2020.
We got so many people into that too. Like yes. Mike Meltzer, Seth Payne, Rich Lord. I can't remember who else.
Who was the Texan?
It was Greg Mance. I got Greg Mance to record something.
Oh, that's right. You did. Yeah. Good guy. Nice guy.
Great guy. Greg Mance.
So yeah, you ended up doing this, and we would do these weird bits from time to time, and they wouldn't know what's going on. I mean, I remember when we did the first King Beard 2020, where we decided we were going to make Cleveland great again, and we were going to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's how it started, and then somehow we started a presidential campaign.
Yes, we started doing attack ads on BMAC.
Yeah.
And
you know the best part about this too is we didn't the King Beard 2020 thing, we didn't think of this ahead of time. It happened organically during the show.
Oh like yeah.
It's like because we would have ESP on this kind of shit, and one of us would say something and the other person would just know where to go, and then we would just look deeply into each other's eyes. And this is why we joke around with the Scrubs gifts sometimes about Turk and JD, because we could have conversations about where this needed to go and take something really, really far without needing to have discussed it beforehand.
Yeah, so we made like these attack ads. We got people to voice them. And I just remember, this was an hour-long show, okay, mind you? Just an hour, not 4 or 5, 1 hour. And in 1 hour, Josh and I played like 5 different attack ads on poor BMAC. No one else, good. Just on BMAC.
Yeah.
And I remember by like the third one, BMAC was just calling them out at that point of like, and here comes another stupid attack ad. Okay, great. So you and I would do this, and I would always like laugh with Joe and BMAC afterwards of like, yeah, sorry, we just didn't want to tell you guys because we didn't want to ruin the surprise, right? So there's one week where the way this would always work, it was a Friday night show. So Saturday and Sunday, we would all kind of like mess around, like, like shit talk one another in the group text, shit talk on Twitter because we had the daily fantasy league that we were in. And then Monday we would just kind of continue, right? So just shit talking the entire time. Well, at some point during the afternoon games, Josh just goes silent, which is very un-Josh like. So
it's so funny. Like it's still hilarious to me. Continue.
I'm glad you find it hilarious because I think BMAC is still going to therapy over it.
This is hands down. Like a lot of the times, the decisions I make with jokes and bits, 90% of the time, I'm mostly doing it for myself. And if other people think it's funny, that's great. But I'm doing it because I think it's hilarious. And so this is still in my top 3 of favorite things I've ever done.
Yeah, so we just stopped hearing from Josh. Like, we don't hear from him on Monday, nothing. Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday, Thursday. Like, the day before the show, nothing. I've got BMAC and Joe going, Kyle, what is going on with Josh? And I'm like, I don't know. I've even tried calling the guy. Don't know what's going on.
And they thought you were a part of it because you had been a part of so many before.
Right. So on Friday, our show started at 8 p.m. I get there at 6 o'clock, okay, to kind of go over stuff with Joe and BMAC because we haven't heard from Josh all week. We don't know if he's alive. We don't know what's going on. So we're all trying to figure it out, going like, okay, well, hey, you know what? We'll just do a 3-man show. Like, that's fine. If he doesn't show up, like, we get it. It's cool. We'll work it out. This whole time, we are trying to get a hold of Josh. Nothing. Just nothing. Sure enough, 30 seconds before the show starts, Josh Beard walks in wearing his aviator glasses that reflect your image. Like, they're reflecting. So he's wearing his aviators. He's wearing this, like, Bill Cosby-esque type of sweater, and he just comes and sits down, doesn't say a word. He walks in, and BMAC and I both look at him and go, oh, hey, how's it going, Josh? Where have you been? Nothing. He just sits down, and I mean, he slams himself in the chair. Like, he came home like he was a dad who had been working at, like, the garbage fill for a good 12 hours, and he came home to a burnt dinner. He just...
Do you want to know something about that?
Yes, I do.
I had literally been in the voice tracking studio for over, like, an hour and a half. Just waiting to walk in 30 seconds before the show started. Prepping and planning everything.
So Josh,
and then I didn't talk for the whole first segment.
Doesn't say a word. I opened the show. Like, I'm the one who's driving the show. So I'm like, hey, welcome into the Fantasy 4. I'm Kyle King. That is Brian McDonald. Brian says something. Behind the glass, we've got Joey Two Names, Joe George. Joe says, oh, hi, how's it going? And I go, and then we have over here to our right, the one and only Josh Beard. And Josh...
Crickets.
leans into the microphone and just goes, sup.
It's easily the best thing I've ever done.
The panic sets in to, like, BMAC and I, who are like, I don't know what to do with this.
Oh, shit. I don't know how to... Can I throw it to him ever? Like, how can we do a show with him being like this? Like, dude, we have... honestly, I just wanted this to be a nightmare situation for all 3 of you.
It really was.
And I just wanted... it was a social experiment, really, to see how you guys would react, and I was hoping that would play over the air.
So the way I tried to drive this show, because there's 4 of us, and we have an hour, and there's only so much we can do. So every now and then, what I would do, the way I would get people to interact and be like, "Hey, it's your turn to talk," to keep all of us from talking over one another, is I would always address somebody. So, like, I would be making a point of like, hey, last Thursday we had a big game. BMAC, you saw James Conner. And then BMAC would start talking, right? So BMAC starts going in. I then get Joe to chime in as well, because I think the Bears had played and we're kind of ripping on him for that. And Joe starts talking, and I go, Josh, what do you think about that? And Josh just leans into the mic again and he goes, I don't like it.
Oh,
And
I wish I could. I wish I didn't save that episode. I wish I would have, and I would listen to it weekly. And
oh,
look, it didn't play, man. The text line was mad. You guys were mad.
this
But
was the
it's
first time that I was actually upset with you.
legitimately upset with me, and that's why you need therapy now.
I'm so glad that like when we finally went to commercial break, I'm glad that you actually like stepped in and went, guys. Like you actually admitted, guys,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
so
this
sorry.
wasn't a good idea.
I thought this was going to be a better idea, and it's not.
Look, it was hilarious for me, but I know when it's not playing to the audience, and it was not
No,
playing to the audience
it
at
was
all.
not. It was so
But it was
awkward.
still it was so awkward. But that's why I loved it. Is the awkwardness of it was just so like I could eat it like a little awkward cookie, like just a pile of awkward cookies. Like they're salty and they're sweet. It's so good.
Can you
Like,
please
it was-
stop smacking your lips while we're doing this? So hold on. Those of you guys can't see this. Josh and I are connected via Skype doing this, and I am actually streaming this on Periscope and YouTube and Twitch right now. I'll get Facebook next week. Promise. But you guys can't see Josh. He is sitting in his game room, and he, honest to God, looks like he's speaking out against the Catholic Church
I
right
don't
now
want to
anonymously.
turn if my camera's not on there, there's no reason to look. In my room is very well lit, but I have to turn the gain and the exposure on my camera down so there's not a bunch of camera lag whenever I stream and record my other stuff.
That's fine.
And so
It's
I
just
just
that
don't
when-
want to turn.
It's
I
just
don't
that
wanna
you're
turn the lights
doing
on.
that. You're doing that in the dark, and it sounds so weird. Stop it! It's creepy.
Wow, 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 wow. I've been feeling fine, baby.
Oh God, just please stop.
So how's quarantine life treating you? That's what. So we've gone. Let's see. We've gone 35 minutes and 27 seconds into the recording. I don't know when people are listening to it. People are gonna be like, it's only been 34 minutes and 56 seconds. This guy's a moron. But we've gone 35 minutes so far, and we haven't even talked about any of the of what the title of the episode is going to be. Which maybe I'll just change the title. We're changing the title right now, but it was going to be that quarantine life. So like,
I've
how is
already titled it that quarantine life, so we're sticking
Well,
with it.
Okay, well, right now you streaming us doing this is titled that, but I can still title the episode of the podcast whatever I want. It can be that quarantine life at the end, but it could be like why Kyle needs therapy and that quarantine life. So we'll do something like that.
God, I wish I could get in-home therapy. Since,
Yeah, you
know-
need that.
Oh, trust me. No, man, quarantine life has been fun because like I said, I've got my daughter here, so I'm with her. A good majority of the day, and back in April of 2019, I got let go from the morning show, so I had a lot of
Which is
time.
bullshit, by the way.
It was. I agree with you, but it's okay. But yeah, I've adapted to it because again, I was used to having that time alone. And just spending it with a 3-month-old the entire time. So I'm used to the isolation. I also have PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, so it's cool. Bring on isolation, baby. I've been waiting 33 years for something
We've been
like
training
this.
for this. That's exactly how I feel too. Where it's like everybody's like, "Oh, I hate this. I'm stuck in my home." And I was the same way. Like before, when I was just working part-time at the radio station, and I was going to school, like I'd drive to College Station 2 days a week, and I'd go to classes then. At nights or on the weekends, I would do the radio thing part-time. But then the rest of the time, I was isolated. When kids were at school, I was playing video games, or I was writing stuff, or I was prepping for shows. Like I'm used to being in my house all day isolated, so this was nothing different for me. I will say, huge shout out to my wife. I know she's not going to listen to this, but just in case I decide to take a snippet of this part and send it specifically to her, huge shout out to my wife. She has been incredible with the kids because she's a teacher. I try to come up with my own curriculum. You can go to my Twitter at Josh Beard Radio to look at the Beard School of Gaming curriculum, which I thought was absolutely incredible. But she said she nixed that. It was all sorts of things like RPG philosophy, intro to FPS, some really, really just super good content. But she nixed that and decided to do math and science. But she's actually done a great job with the kids where it's like our kids actually want to be homeschooled now, which is cool.
Nice.
The first thing I did, speaking of video games, like that's been a huge thing for everybody during the quarantine time is playing video games. So I put together like a little list of like the best you can find it. I'm just gonna plug everything on this, but you can find it at beerblogs.com. I only have like 4 blog posts on there because it's really just something. It's a place for me to dump the things that are in my brain when I think of them, more than an actual blog that's active all the time. But I did do a definitive COVID-19 quarantine video game list with multiple games from multiple different genres.
Oh, nice.
Ranking them all based off of the number of syringes. So it's like anywhere from 1 to 5 syringes is how good it is compared to all the games on the list are very good, but how good they are compared to the other games on the list. So it's a pretty good list. So go check that out. But quarantine life is easy, man. It's like I've got food. Well, the one problem is I was because I'm working remotely. I work at an esports company now, and it's awesome and I love it. But working remotely, I realized one day I came in to work at 7 o'clock in the morning and realized I only left the room twice to go to the bathroom. So by the end of the day, when I walked out to the main part of my house, it was like the quarantine equivalent of walking out of your house into actual fresh air all day, where my office was so disgusting with my own scent and film and filth that when I walked into the main part of my house, I was like, oh my God, is this what air is supposed to smell like? And that was just like a house. It wasn't even like actual fresh air. So that's a little terrifying. I think at some points, I think I've actually stuck, like my body started to fuse itself into my chair in my office, but that's okay.
See, I need to get a gaming chair.
You do, man. It makes everything so much easier. They're so ergonomic. And
I don't think you said that word correctly.
I said that for sure. Yeah. No, I mean like having the little pillow on the back. It had that lumbar support. Really helps out with like lower back pain. Being able to rest my arms where I need to rest them.
You sound like such an
I don't know why
old
that's a
man.
thing. Dude, I am an old
Your
man.
back hurts sitting in a chair.
Yeah, my legs give out in various spots at different times every day. Normally in the morning, my left ankle gives out while I'm going down the stairs. I've fallen down my stairs multiple times over the last 6 months because my ankle just like, fuck it, I'm done, and just gives out. My knees give out later in the day usually. Luckily, they never give out at the same time, so my body just doesn't completely fail on me at one time. But they do give out at various different times.
So you were talking about like how quarantine life is actually pretty easy. My wife and I were having dinner the other day, and I had asked her. I was like, how are you holding up with the whole, not being able to go out and everything like that? And she started to like talk about like work and everything, and I was like, well, I'm glad you said that. I was like, but I meant more, not being able to go out and do stuff. My wife she goes, I'm doing just fine. This isn't 5 years ago where I was going out to bars and restaurants with you. We pretty much sit at home these days.
Yeah. Well, so like, I want to ask how she's doing before, but like, I realize like, my wife and I are like, we're not going to be able to do anything, but like, almost every night we just stay in and watch a TV show, which is a different type. Like either Grey's Anatomy, we've been watching The Last Kingdom a lot, Uhtred Ragnarsson, or if you want to go with Uhtred, son of Uhtred, I don't know which one you care about. I'm more of a Vikings kind of guy, definitely more of a fan of the Norsemen, but if you like the Saxons, that's fine. Both of them have their merits, but we've been watching a bunch of different bullshit shows, and we realized quickly it's like, oh, our lives haven't changed at all.
Yeah.
Because we don't go anywhere or do anything.
Yeah, my wife is handling this great. In fact, she's sitting on the couch staring at me, making sure that I don't get too loud, because our daughter's room is literally right above the room I'm in. So every now and then I look over. It's like having a Gelman from Live with Regis and Kelly over there, just being like, you keep it down, you.
How is she doing because she's a medical professional.
Yeah.
So how is she doing like actually like has she come across any of this or had to deal with any of it yet?
So the last 2 days, her hospital is on like some sort of like level 3 1984 code blue, to where
that sounds like somebody's gonna die in it and be haunted someday.
Very well possible.
It sounds like Ghost Hunters in 5 years is gonna be on that floor.
Cool. Like that would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, no, I hate ghost hunters. I think that's all a pile of bullshit. But yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, there goes our second podcast, Ghost Hunting with Kyle and Josh. But it's weird. I had to find out this way. Kind of rude.
No, ghost hunting with Kyle and Josh would just be us trying to track down all the people that have ghosted us via text message.
Okay, fair. But no, she's doing good. She's been on the entry screening process the last 2 days, so
Okay.
she's had to deal with a lot of interesting folks, and I can't get into it because that
Right.
would be bad for her. But let's just say Karen doesn't just visit the grocery store. Karen likes to go to the hospital too, and get all sorts of Karen-esque up there.
Here's what we
amazing.
Here's what we can do on a future episode. All we have to do is we can have well, I don't want to say her name. We can have a medical professional who is related through marriage with one of us, and have them on as a guest.
And then just change their voice like this. And then nobody knows.
You were literally looking for an excuse to use your voice changers.
I was. That's the only.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
You don't hate me. You love me.
No, I definitely hate you. I definitely hate you. Especially,
Well, then I'm just gonna sit here in my glass case of emotions cave.
well, you absolutely should. No,
done.
dude, I will tell you what we did the other night, and it was really awesome. This was last night. We actually got my parents to agree to watch Monica.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they were like, "Hey, we'll watch Monica. Don't you guys worry. Have a great night to yourselves." And we're like, "Okay, great." This is exactly what happened. She gets home. We ordered pizza from our favorite pizza joint. I went and picked it up. She went and showered because, again, screening people, I was like, please don't touch me.
Just come. You have to. I'm sorry. You have to walk through the Purell waterfall that I have created,
Right.
and then go straight to the bathroom
Like-
to take a shower.
This is a sign of the times. Like, we no longer use, like, chocolate syrup and stuff, like, when we're in bed. We use Purell hand sanitizer.
Just rubbing Purell into each other. Oh yes.
Oh, you're so clean.
Feel the bacteria going away.
Can't you feel 99.99% of germs just fading away? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So-
that's terrible.
So last night we ended up ordering pizza. I went and picked it up. She got all showered and everything. We get done. We eat. She ended up going to Sonic for us. She also then came home and crushed 2 glasses of wine while
Nice.
I went ahead and busted out some of my very special stash,
What's your special stash, Kyle?
marijuana.
Oh, never mind. I was gonna do I thought you were gonna say White Claw, but I didn't.
No, I
forgot.
stopped drinking.
What?
Yeah, I just
Oh, that makes me sad. They have new White Claw flavors out now.
trust me.
Stop drinking when they come out with new White Claw flavors. What is that?
Trust me, you know this hurts me because I saw that and I was like, what a time to stop. Great.
Oh, I know.
But
The lemon is good. Watermelon's kind of shit.
really,
Like the watermelon White Claw kind of tastes like if I were to drink the fluid out of my asshole. Like that's kind of what it tastes like. But the lemon's very good.
maybe
It
I'm
comes
going to
with
start drinking
mango.
again then. Woo, sounds great. What a ringing endorsement.
What else is in there? The tangerine is really good too.
Tangerine sounds like
Tangerine
it'd
is
be awesome.
yeah, they're both tangerine, mango, lemon. I mean, obviously the mango's already been out, but tangerine and lemon are good. But watermelon from the time it touches your lips to 5 minutes after you've drank it, it just tasted like you drank battery acid straight out of Natalie Portman's asshole. Like
Okay.
that's exactly what it tastes like.
I'll have to remember that. But yeah, I stopped drinking just because I don't know. I didn't like how it made me feel. So I stopped. And then, coronavirus hit. It's like,
Right.
what an idiot. What a moron I am.
I saw a thing today that said Texans are drinking more than any other state during the quarantine.
Hold
And
on.
that,
That's not a surprise. Like, come on.
Well, a lot of people would be surprised by that. In my time in the military, I met people from the Midwest, from the North, from the West Coast, from the Southeast, all over the place. And everybody tried to tell me that Wisconsin and Minnesota drank more beer and more alcohol than anybody else. And I was like, guys, look, that's super cute. but also you're fucking morons. Nobody drinks more than us. They're like, no, we drink more beer than anybody else. We're all German. I'm like, yeah, most of us are Czech, you idiots. Like, it's like we drink more than you. I promise. We
First
drink
of
better
all,
than you.
they also
We handle
don't know that like a majority of Central Texas is German.
right. Right, exactly. And so they're like, we're German. I'm like, yeah, so are we, you idiots. But they just don't get it. And now that there's a bunch of Texans stuck at home, now we're drinking more than anybody else. And now I've literally been systematically texting. I'm on. Let me look at my list real fast. I'm on person 172 of 463. 172. Oh, I texted 172 today. So 173 and on, I still have to text all those people saying, haha, we drink more than you. Go Texas, you suck. And I've been texting that. I just made a template and I've been texting everybody on this list that template. Yeah.
This is how you're adapting to quarantine
That's how
life.
I'm adapting. Yeah. That's
It's
how I'm
just
adapting to quarantine life.
Sending the
Look, I
same
can't
text
watch-
message to shit talk all of your old buddies.
Yeah. I can't watch porn to
What?
adapt
Why?
to quarantine life because it's not kosher. My wife doesn't, she's not a porn person, a porn fan.
Yeah, my
And
wife's
so,
not a porn person either.
but it's like, I got the wife and kids at home all the time, all day, every day. And I don't want to be like sitting in here, pulling out Fappy Longstocking and then somebody walks in on me. Like, I'm not going to do that. So this is literally, that's been the worst part of the quarantine so far.
I
haven't serviced myself.
I do need to actually thank you for something.
Okay.
I can't believe
Wow,
I'm going to
thank
do
me
this.
for something? That's weird.
I know, this is going to be very weird when it happens.
baby, I'm getting a thank you.
It's still so weird when you do that.
Okay, you have to thank me. I'm sorry, I threw you off.
That's all right. I have to thank
You're
you
off your
for
group.
for recommending scheduled sex nights.
It's the best, isn't it?
So great. My wife and I have never been closer.
Right? Look, everybody made fun of me whenever I told people. Not that I went and told everybody, but the people that I told, all of them made fun of me. Be like, dude, that makes no sense. That's stupid.
I was one of those. Remember?
Well, I was used to it by the time you made fun of me. I'm talking about like when we first came up with the idea. Like we first came up with the idea, we had our second kid, and you have to wait a certain amount of time after you have a kid to have relations.
Mm-hmm.
And we waited that prescribed amount of time, and then months after that, and I was like, look, something's got to happen. And she was just like, I know. And I'm like, what's wrong? And we're just like, she's like, I'm working, I'm tired. I'm like, so am I, but you don't hear me complaining about it. And then she stared at me for a while. And so I was like, what about this? Every Saturday night, that's our thing. We have to do it. That doesn't mean we can't do it other nights, but
Right.
Saturday night, no matter how either of us are feeling, and I said either of us, knowing full well that I would be 1,000% ready to go every Saturday night, and she would be the one that would have to suck it up and deal with it because it was Saturday night. But I put us in there because we're a team and we work together. Beside the point. So Saturday nights, that was our thing. And people made fun of it, but we have never been closer since. When you have kids, it gets difficult, man. Like pull back the funny, pull back trying to be funny and telling jokes. When you have kids, it gets difficult to try to find time for each other. Not even just from a sexual, physical standpoint, but just like an emotional, talking, connecting, going on date standpoint. Like when you have kids, things change. That just happens. So the best thing we ever did was schedule sex, and now when we're hanging, it's awesome. It's awesome because it's like, oh, it's Saturday night. We both know what's going down. And the anticipation to that day usually leads to more days outside of like extracurriculars. Like it's like I know I have baseball practice on Thursdays, but I want to get some batting practice in on Tuesday, right? Like that's kind of how it works. And it has the other added benefit of when we're hanging out with family on Saturday nights, I can be like, sorry guys, gotta go. It's Saturday night. And then I make her mom feel real awkward, and that makes me laugh.
Dude, it was so great. Like when I called and told my mom, or when I called and told my parents.
Did you call and tell, like, guess what, guys?
Guess what? We're gonna do it again. She's gonna let me do it. No, when I called and asked my parents to watch Monica and they agreed, I called my wife. I called my wife and I was like, hey, my mom and dad agreed to take the kiddo, so it's just you and I tonight. First thing my wife said was, go pick up condoms. Dude, when I tell you, it was the best feeling in the world to have my wife go and pick these up, because I was like, ooh, she's allowing me to touch her tonight. Yeah.
you've never been a professional hurdler, but I doubt anybody jumped over the couch to get out of the front door better or faster than you did in that moment.
So here's the thing. I was working at HEB at the time. I was working at HEB that day. I'd just gotten done with my shift. I am literally still wearing my HEB polo with my little name tag. You know, like I'm still looking like I'm at work, and I go. So here's the deal. For those of you who haven't been to the grocery store yet, first of all, thank you. Second of all, if you haven't been, HEB, my store at least, we have limits on certain products because for some reason, everybody heard that coronavirus is an upper respiratory illness and decided they needed toilet paper, right? I don't know why, but they did. So,
Right, which makes no sense.
right. So we have limits on toilet paper, on chicken, pork, beef, to keep people from hoarding, basically, okay? So we also have a line that you have to get in before you get in line to check out because people, not only do we have people telling you, hey, you know, you have the full basket, go to this lane. You have like 5 items, go to self-checkout. They're also scanning baskets to make sure
people aren't going over.
correct. So I also had a little shopping I had to do. So I get my items and I get the condoms and I put them right out in the center for all to see because I was like, oh yeah.
Why? You got to build a house around those motherfuckers.
Why?
Like you have to take. You
Why
need
would I
6
be
items.
ashamed of that? Why would I be ashamed?
Because that's just weird. Like it's weird for me for people to see that I'm buying those.
No.
And I get it. These are people like even me with people that I don't know and I'll probably never see again. I need to buy 6 other items that are similarly or more or larger, similarly sized or larger than the box of condoms, and then I need to build because I need 4 walls. And then I need to make sure that I have 2 items, one on top and then another one to brace the top to make sure the whole thing doesn't fall apart. And then you have the condoms hiding inside that. So then there's only you mitigate the amount of people that are going to see that you're buying them.
No, I am very proud of buying condoms. I love it because again, it lets the people know it's going down tonight for your boy. You know?
Well, it's embarrassing because people see when I buy them, they see the Magnum, and I'm like, yeah. And then everybody makes a big deal of it, and it's a whole thing.
That
it's
does
a whole
suck.
thing that I want to. Yeah, it's just it's just like a thing that I want to avoid. You know?
Like I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a little embarrassing that time. Everybody saw you buying like those little like finger things with the rubber bands.
Why are you buying latex gloves and cutting the fingers off of them?
That's for my
Don't worry
business and
about
my
it.
business only. Okay. Who are you, Nancy Drew? Like,
Get the fuck out of here, Nancy Drew.
come on, bye.
Oh shit. Okay, so you went in condoms center stage and you go to buy them.
And one of my managers is looking through my cart to make sure I'm good because I was like, you need to make sure that I'm in compliance. I'm no better, like I should be treated like everybody else.
Right.
Maybe a little better in my mind, but just still treat me like everybody else, like a commoner. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Condomer.
I see what you did there. So
You kind of hate me a little bit though.
So they do the scan and they didn't say anything. So the first thing I did was I picked up the box and went, is there a limit on these? Can I go back and get more?
Well, you should have been more subtle with it. You should have just bought 1 box this time, but then come back the next time and bought just increase by 2 every time. So 1 this time, then 3 the next time, then 5 the next time, then 7 the next time, to where they're like, Jesus, to where they finally have to say something about it, and then you get to be like, whoa, man, that's my business, and then you get to act like they're the asshole when you're buying 7 boxes of condoms.
Oh, okay.
That's what you should.
I see. Well, then they go, oh man, like something good going on tonight, and I was like, oh yeah, something good definitely going down tonight. That's me afterwards because I'm gonna fall asleep after this 30 seconds of awesomeness.
Oh God! All right, we're gonna end this here because we've been going for almost an hour, and I really wanted to try to keep this at 30 minutes.
Do you?
And
I know, but hold on.
I have failed every time I've ever done a podcast or a stream or whatever the fuck it is. I've always said 30 minutes tops because people stop listening after that, and every single time it's a minimum of an hour. Every single time.
Well, one,
what were you gonna ask?
you and I are hilarious, but two, I was going to ask, did you want to hear the bird story?
Oh, let's save the bird story.
Let's save the bird story?
Let's save that. We'll start with the bird story in episode 2. Save that. I forgot about that, and I didn't even get to talk about how my wife is like accidentally fat shaming me with her running. We'll do both. We'll talk about both of those next. See, we got to see where this one goes, and this one didn't go there, but we'll start off with those two stories somehow in some way in episode 2 next week.
We need to set the over under on who thinks this is actually going to happen, because I can guarantee you.
One of our mutual friends texted me after I tweeted that we were recording this, and he set the over under on number of episodes that we do at 4.5.
You tell Paul Gallant that I will see him at 5.
It wasn't Paul. But yeah, when we hit 5, we're immediately, I'll tell you who it is off of this, but when we hit 5, we'll immediately send that to that person and just shame them and then never do another episode.
God,
just so we beat them and they can know that we beat their odds, and then we just stop after that point, walk off like champions.
Are we doing it with just this one person, or do we want to get some others and then take a cumulative and be okay, this is what they've set it at?
Just that one person, that